All right, then let's go ahead and get started. Thanks everyone for joining us for this training about Lifeset, which provides resources and programming for foster youth aging out of the system. If you're a CASA volunteer attending this, your attendance has been automatically logged and you'll receive credit in the system toward your 12 hours of continuing education. And you will get an email after this training is over. That also serves as a confirmation if you're not a CASA volunteer and you need to show that you attended this training. That email will also include a link to fill out our feedback form. We'd love for you to do that to let us know how you thought it went and give us any ideas you have for future trainings. And our next training is February the 8th at 12 p.m. It's about understanding autism and Down syndrome in children. And it's at the Jessamine County Public Library. So it's our Jessamine and Garrett training for the year. It's also available. You can register to attend virtually. And more information about that's on our website, casaoflexington.org. And with that, I will turn it over to Taylor, Joe, and Lexi, who are with Lifeset, to tell us more about what Lifeset can do for some of our older foster kids.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. My name is Joe. For those who want to practice rolling their R's, is my last name Arroyo. But if you don't, then it's fine, Joe. It's okay. So I'm I live in Scott County in Georgetown, and I supervise both teams, Lexington and Louisville. So I'm the regional supervisor here. We've been in Kentucky for, it's going to be 2 years in July. So we are very excited about that. So we're going to be uploading the presentation here in a moment, and Taylor and Lexi will give you more information, and we'll open, to answer any questions that you may have. So let me introduce you to Lexi. Lexi is the Louisville clinical supervisor.
Lexi. Yes, I'm the supervisor for our Louisville area, so I'm presently located in Jefferson County. So I'm really excited to be able to join into this meeting and see some faces that are a little farther outside of where I'm at. But I've been with Youth Villages for about almost 4 years. So really excited to talk with you about Lifeset. I've been with the team here since we started back in 2020. So I think you guys know Taylor, but I'll pass it on to her if she wants to speak up a little bit on her role.
Hey everyone, my name is Taylor. I've been in close communication with Ben getting this set up for everyone, and we're excited to be here. I know that you guys all come from a lot of various walks of life, but the one thing that unites you together is that you want what's best for the kids that you're volunteering for. And so we appreciate you, because part of my pun, but it takes a village. So we're excited to be here. Are you guys able to see my screen right now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Sometimes Zoom gets a little funny. So we can go ahead and get started. I'm super excited that Joe and Lexi are here to help with this today, but we are going to be chatting basically about foster children who are exiting the foster care system here in Kentucky, and how those outcomes that they experience may differ if they are involved in Lifeset. We're also going to see some cool real life examples throughout this presentation, and then we're also going to do a little Q&A and open discussion so that you guys can get all the information that you need possible. Any questions about what we're up to today? No? I hope you have brought something that can connect to the internet, because I've got a little Kahoot game for you guys today, just to learn a little bit about the outcomes that our foster kids leaving the system may be experiencing nationwide and here in Kentucky. And so I'm going to stop sharing this and pull up our little Kahoot game. And you guys will need like a phone, a laptop, or a tablet that's connected to the internet to participate. So give me just a second. Let me know if you guys can see that.
So it looks like we should go to KAHOOT.IT and enter the game pin.
Yeah, that is correct. There's also a QR code that you can scan, and then you'll enter the game pin, and then you'll create a name for yourself. It can be fun, it can be cool, it can be your name. But yeah, everybody should be able to play this, and it's gonna just do some little trivia. Betty is ready to go. So is Liz.
I'm sorry, I think I missed that. Do we have to open this on our phone?
You can go, so there is a QR code that you can scan with your camera app if you're using your phone, or you can use another device or your phone and go to www.kahoot.it. It's up at the top of the screen, and then you'll enter the game pin, and it should let you put in a name.
I'll put it in the chat as well in case someone wants to copy it from there.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
Hello, I don't understand. You might need to be a little more clear for me. Are you wanting us to get on a separate device other than the one we're on looking at this? Is that correct?
Kate, are you on a computer right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You could either open a browser window on your computer to do this, I think, or yes, you could use your cell phone. Either way.
Okay, all right.
And then do what with it?
You would go to, so I think that we're using a website to participate in some trivia and to ask you so they can ask us some questions. So you go to the URL www.kahoot.it, which is also in the chat, and then you enter that 7-digit PIN, and it'll add you as a person in this activity we're going to participate in. And really, if there's anyone who's unable to make this work, Taylor, would it be okay for them to perhaps put their answers in the chat instead?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. So I can wait a few more minutes, or if you guys want to get started, just let me know and I'll proceed.
If anyone, we'll just say everyone who's in here already signed up can answer. And if you're not in there, go ahead and just put your answers in the chat. How about that?
Works for me.
Why don't you give us another minute, okay? Just hold your horses for another minute.
I'm a Holden.
Good. Some of us are slower than others.
Some of us are very much slower.
On stuff like this, it'd be a good idea to put it in the notice ahead of time. And then I could have been ready. I'm just not fast on this. Okay, so I see a screen that says you're in. So what do you want us to do now? Just stay there?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll mute myself now.
Do we think we're good to go ahead and get started, Ben?
Do you know how many people you have total?
I've got Kate, Joe, Denny, Gudrun, Susan, Steph, Beth, Ben, and Betty. So I've got 9 people.
Okay. Let's go ahead.
All right. So you will be answering what you think these questions are, and there'll be some slides in between. So like I said, we're going to be talking about foster youth in Kentucky and nationally, specifically in this Kahoot. So you're going to learn about how foster youth who are transitioning out of care differ in Kentucky versus nationally. And the first question that you're going to try to guess the percentage of.
I'm so sorry, excuse me, but this kicked me out, so I have to have the game pin again. I'm sorry. I'm Billy Joe.
I believe it's in the chat.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so you're guessing on this one, what percentage of Kentucky foster youth will still be in foster care on their 18th birthday? And you're selecting the shape that corresponds with the percentage. Billy, the pin is in the bottom right-hand corner as well, so it's 9635892. And so we learn on this slide that 16% of Kentucky foster youth will still be in foster care on their 18th birthday. We see Betty got that one right. Way to go, Betty. And so this is the slide. All of the data that we're using today is from the Annie E. Casey Foundation's 2018 study on transition-aged youth. And so it may be a little bit hard to see, but you'll see that Kentucky has 16% of their youth still in foster care by the age of 18, while the United States general population of foster youth has 22%. This actually means that youth in Kentucky are less likely to extend their commitment to the state, and so they actually lose a ton of access to services that help them be successful in areas like stable housing, employment, and higher education. All right, I am going to move on to the next question if everybody is ready. This is a simple true or false, and so this states foster care youth in Kentucky have more resources to obtain housing, employment, and education compared to other states. And you're picking either true or false. All right, so we have a little mix of half and half. Some people think that it's true, and some people believe that that is false. Our data actually shows us that that is false. They've got less access to resources. And we'll see some scores here pop up. And then this one's extra hard to see. Sorry about that. So this one will show you Kentucky youth versus United States youth again in the areas of programs that help them with employment and vocational training, educational and financial assistance, so access to higher education, and then room and board, which they in this study utilize that as like housing stability. And so this graph shows you that Kentucky youth are participating in less federally funded transition services in those areas than other transition-aged youth in the United States. And again, that's from the Annie E. Casey Foundation study in 2018. So I'm going to move on to the next question. There will be two questions back to back on this one before there's another slide that kind of shows you some of the data. This is another percentage. So what percentage of Kentucky foster care involved youth are able to gain part-time or full-time employment by the age of 21? All right, so we got a mixed bag of answers again, but the percentage that is true for Kentucky foster care youth is 33%. And then it's going to pop another question. This one is going to ask you what percentage of Kentucky foster care involved youth are able to gain stable housing by the age of 21. This one's a little higher than you might think. So it's 64% of young adults in Kentucky are able to obtain that stable housing by the age of 21. However, when we look at the outcomes compared to the rest of the United States, you will see that we still fare at a decent percentage decrease than the United States foster care system. And you'll see also that part-time employment is lower than other young adults who are involved in foster care in the United States. We also can see that parents, foster youth who are in Kentucky are more likely to become young parents than other states as well. So that is the end of the interactive section of this. Looks like Ben got third place. Betty got second. Who's gonna get first? The mysterious CASA volunteer got first.
Oh, that's me. I had to sign in with another name. Sorry.
No, that is
Billy
okay.
Joe.
Well, thanks you guys for participating and giving me some
Do I
patience in
get a
trying to
prize?
figure this out. You get the prize of knowing the most about transition age foster youth in Kentucky. Wear that badge of honor for the rest of your life.
Thank you.
So,
Not prize, right?
right. Let me get back on our presentation. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that? Again, thanks for bearing with me to just be patient and getting that figured out. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah, we're doing hot. Okay, so we'll just get continued on. So those are the outcomes of youth, obviously nationally and in Kentucky, for stuff like stable employment and housing, which are some of the areas that Lifeset works to address. And so we will move on to our next slide and just get started. So we know through that data provided by the foundation by Anna C. Casey that nationally young people are truly struggling to bridge from their experience in foster care into successful adulthood. It's clear that those youth are aging out and they're extremely vulnerable, and they often are facing futures of homelessness, incarceration, and poverty, unfortunately. What do you guys think stands in the way of young adults having more positive outcomes? So what stops them from being able to obtain that stable housing, and what stops them from being able to gain just stable employment and other things like that?
Education.
That's definitely a factor. Anyone else?
Babies.
Babies becoming young parents, because it's hard
Their
to.
lack of, I would say their lack of resources, but not just financially, but emotional resources. You know, if they have role models, if they have people that have shown them different ways, you know, a mentor or something that can show them ways to do things differently.
Absolutely.
I think that the inadequate life skills is a big piece.
Yeah.
Lack of a supportive cabinet worker.
That's a good answer as well. You guys are spot on the money. Anyone else have an idea, or just echoing what everybody else says here? We hear all of those things, and you guys are absolutely spot on. Every year we see about 20,000 youth age out of the foster care system, and they enter adulthood without the support most teens receive from friends and family, and they often do not have the skills that they need to really overcome any barriers to get those positive outcomes that we're really working for. At one of the most critical junctures of their lives, the support systems that they have come to rely on while they have been in the system abruptly disappear, and it leaves them pretty unprepared to adapt to the demands of daily life. But we do know that if those young people are supported throughout their journey, they're more likely to be resilient, and they overcome the challenges that are presented to them and those barriers and just challenges that are working to stop them from achieving their goals. Luckily, many of them have had a lot of supportive adults while they've been in foster care. We know that you all serve as amazing supports for all of the young people that you're serving, not just transition aged youth. But honestly, we're wondering, like, what happens when these young adults turn 18 and they don't recommit to the cabinet and they lose access to their resources and their informal and formal support systems? Lifeset could come into play here, and is actually an invaluable program that has successfully bridged many transitioning age foster youth into adulthood, and it helps them fulfill their full potential. So when a young adult participates in the Lifeset program, you can see their outcomes are drastically different than the outcomes that we just saw in the Kahoot game we participated in. The data points just a small picture of what our young adults are achieving just 1 year after receiving Lifeset services. We do incredible amounts of research and evaluation after our young adults discharge from services 6 months, 1 year, and 2 years after services. So you'll see from our fiscal year 19 to fiscal year 21 here that 94% of our young adults who received at least 60 days of services are they're living with family or independently. So they've obtained that housing stability that we saw the lack of in the Kahoot game. And then you'll see that 91% of our participants are in school, graduated, or employed 1 year post-discharge. And then that 94% of them are not engaging in any activities that would get them into any kind of trouble with law enforcement in the area. And again, those are for youth who received at least 60 days of our services. Ooh. So Lifeset has actually been around in creating those positive outcomes for young adults since 1999. Clarence Day had a chat with our CEO of Youth Villages back in the day, and he really wanted to know where services were lacking, who was falling through the cracks. And we came up with the population of our transitioning age foster youth who are getting ready to exit from care. He helped us get this program put together, and we've been working to make sure that young adults have access to services once they leave care so that they are more likely to be successful in adulthood. And so we will move to the next slide. Like Joe said, we have been here in Kentucky since July of 2020. We've got 2 Lifeset teams. One operates out of Louisville and Lexington. Lexi is the clinical supervisor for the Louisville area, and then Mallory, who's going to be joining our 5:30 session, is the clinical supervisor for Lexington. On each of those teams, we have 3 to 5 Lifeset specialists per team, and they're working with young adults on a various level of need. And their max caseload is 10 young adults, but it averages between 8 and 10. So they really have the time and dedication to serve these young adults in whatever ways they may need. And while our offices are located in Louisville and Lexington, we serve in rural areas surrounding those at about a 1 hour or 60-mile radius. So you can see our service region there, and we're working to serve up to 80 young people each day. And we're super, super excited about that. This program really started because DCBS had saw those outcomes through their own studies and through national studies for transitioning age foster youth and realized that that is the lacking area. So they got with us and worked really, really closely with us to develop this program and bring it here to Kentucky so that we can start receiving better outcomes in Kentucky for our young adults leaving foster care. And so we've been working with Paula and Lorraine and a bunch of other really fantastic folks in DCBS, independent living specialists, social service workers to get these services to the kids who are eligible for them. And so you can see a little bit more clearly here what counties we are serving, and I will let you guys read those. I won't read them all out to you. We know that young adults often are transient in nature as well. And so once they leave care, once they turn 18 and they say, you know what, this foster care thing is not for me, I don't feel like I'm going to recommit to the state. We know that they might actually leave the area in which they were, their area of origin. So you might be serving them in Fayette County and they may decide, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm going to go hang out in Washington County. This just shows that we are able to serve them in Washington County, even if they did leave the Lexington area. So definitely keep that in mind while you're working with these young people, because when they do leave the area, they lose access to their trusted volunteers, support systems, and the knowledge of resources. And we just love to be able to assist those young adults in all of the various areas that we do serve there. And I will make sure that.
Can I ask a question really quick, Taylor?
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like it sounds like you're saying your service area is based on where the person is living, not on where the family court case is.
Correct. It is where the young adult is located. We're going to go over what exactly Lifeset looks like in practice in a little bit. But we do serve the young adults in a community-based fashion. And so we will go see them face to face. So it is where they are living, not necessarily where the case is open. Any other questions at this point? Feel free to jump in at any time if you've got questions. Correct. So I'm sure you guys are wondering who exactly can we serve. So we've put our eligibility criteria up on the screen here. Typically we serve, again, young adults ages 17 to 20 till their 23rd birthday who live in that identified service area and meet at least one of the more of the following criteria on the screen. Our criteria really works to fill gaps in services that DCBS has helped us identify. And so currently we're serving populations who typically would not have access to other services due to various disqualifying factors. So you'll see that we're able to serve young adults who return to relative custody or were adopted after their 16th birthday. This is a major one because a lot of young adults who are adopted or placed back in relative custody lose access to the majority of services that other young adults who transition out of foster care receive. So we're super excited to serve that population and just help them with their life goals and skills. And then we can also serve, for instance, young adults who, again, don't decide to recommit to the cabinet after age 18. And then you can see some other various eligibility criteria there. Our goal is actually to connect with other providers such as yourself in our respective areas, just to identify how we can help fill gaps in services that are specific to what those service providers are seeing. We wonder a lot about like which young people are keeping you up at night or who are you worried about? There is an example.
Can I ask a question, please?
Absolutely.
When you went through the sort of the legal position the child would be in, what about planned permanent living arrangement? How does that fit in? Are you familiar with that designation? So I have two kids who have planned permanent living arrangement, so different from being adopted.
Okay, so would that be considered like kinship or fictive kin homes that they're placed in?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're able to serve them if they're committed to DCBS in a DCBS foster home, or relative or kinship fictive kin home, or on a college campus. Where it gets a little bit trickier, what we can't do is serve young adults who are committed to DCBS in a privately sponsored foster home, so like a NECO foster home, or I'm losing my Benchmark Family Services or Stepstone. If they're in a DCBS foster home or in fictive kin, they absolutely should be eligible as long as they're 17 years old, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry I interrupted you.
No, please ask as many questions as you guys need. I really want you guys to have this information and just have it handy and ready to go. Yes.
Also, if they have any questions and want to type them in the chat box, Lexi and I will be happy to address those questions while you continue.
All right.
If anybody chooses to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, and I have another question. On the age limit, I have a kid that will be 17 in May. So when would we start engaging with you? Do we have to wait till they have their 17th birthday, or can we plan beforehand?
So I'm really glad that you asked that, Deborah. We love it when we see service providers and you guys as volunteers. It's wonderful when we're starting to think ahead of time. The reason that I say that is the sooner we can engage a young adult, the better, just in transition planning. So we really like to see referrals, I think, for young adults and start talking about Lifeset just to get them on board, probably a month to 2 months before they might turn 17, or 2 months before they're planning to transition somewhere else. We cannot physically open their case with Lifeset until their 17th birthday, but we can chat with them, talk to them about their goals, figure out just exactly what they're wanting to get out of Lifeset before that 17th birthday. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I know, you get excited about this because we all want to help our kiddos. So you would be able to provide us some talking points or some slides or some things that when we're talking to them, to be able to say, want to tell you about this opportunity and what they would be able, kind of a subset of what you deliver.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. We would love to just provide those things for you all, just so that you can talk with them, because we know that you're one of the maybe few supports that they do have, or the only support who's there for them through all of the terrible things that they've experienced. So if you think that talking points will help, we are more than happy to provide those so that you can share this information with them and can get them some more support systems.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually had the opportunity to serve someone who did have a CASA volunteer in Madison County. And so when I talk about who is keeping you up at night or who you are worried about and wanting to get services to, for this CASA volunteer in Madison County, it was the 17-year-old she was working with who had yet to turn 18, but was moving into a college campus before the semester started. And unfortunately, she didn't have any food, hygiene products, or truly like any essentials to move into her freshman year dorm room. And because she was moving in early, she also didn't have access to her meal plan at that time. So the CASA volunteer knew that she wasn't going to have any established formal supports once she moved on that campus. And that since it was the beginning of the year, it would be very hard for her to try to figure out where she would need to go and get her connected with the resources that she needed to really thrive and just succeed on that campus in that first little bit of transition time. So we were able to start serving this young lady after receiving the referral from her independent living specialist and talking to her CASA volunteer. And we were able to help her kind of establish some more formalized supports, help her get connected with the Student Success Center at that college, help her figure out if she needed any mental health services, where the counseling center was. We were able to provide her with a cell phone for the month while she was transitioning, while her caseworker was working to get her a phone through Aetna. And all of these things allowed her to be more successful and transition more smoothly during her first semester of college. She was able to get a job and successfully finish her semester before she stopped being served by us, just because she achieved all of her goals. So we were super excited about that. And so we would actually love to walk alongside you all and make sure that the young adults that you are worried about have access to these services as well. And so I know you have to be wondering at this point, well, how the heck are you able to achieve those outcomes that you just talked about? Like, what does a day-to-day life look like for a Lifeset specialist working with one of our young adults? And so I'm actually going to turn it over to Alexi, who can give you a little bit more information about what we do and how we do it.
Taylor. All right. I'm about to dive in pretty deep for you guys, just to talk about specifically, like, what does that actual day in the life look like? What does that look like for Lifeset to engage the young adults that you're already encountering or thinking of? And then from there, I really want to be able to provide an understanding of how do we really serve these young adults optimally? Like those statistics and those Kahoot questions we went through, how does Lifeset bump up those positive outcomes? So I wanted to bring you through and give you an understanding of how we are clinically and research-based to lead our young adults towards success. And then we'll be able to go back towards that referral process just to make sure you guys feel very equipped and confident in regards to what is Lifeset and how you can best be supporting your young adults in that. So up first, I did want to talk about our service delivery specifically. Taylor was able to touch on this a little bit if you remember her conversation around the counties that we serve and where our offices are located. But something that we always love to encourage our young adults with is how we provide our services. Our services are very unique. They're very individual focused. And so I love the photo here because they're outside of a car, but one of our biggest mottos here at Lifeset is our young adult truly is put in the driver's seat. So services are wholly targeted to what they need. So all of our specialists, every one of my team members have no more than 10 cases ever. The reason for that small caseload is so that they can truly be giving that individualized focus to a young adult. I'm sure all of us here have had someone that we've served who has had a crisis at like 2 p.m. on a Thursday or 2 a.m. on a Saturday. These small caseloads allow us to actually respond and support a young adult in those situations as they come. All of our teams undergo some rigorous supervision. So they meet with their clinical supervisors for a minimum of once a week to hone in on clinical skill and case struggles. But not only that, our team as an entire whole meets for supervision twice weekly. One of those is to meet as a team collaboratively to hone in and focus on the interventions and model that we're giving to our clients. And then we are, as a whole state, overseen by our licensed program expert. So this is an individual who does carry licensure, and they are equipped and certified in our program model. So they oversee what we do daily with our young adults to ensure that it's actually success and goal focused. But best of all, my favorite piece is, though we have all this supervision, though we have this targeted focus with our clients, our clients are actually the ones telling us what they want to be doing. So if you remember earlier, Taylor spoke on the concept of a bridge. As you'll hopefully have been able to see a little bit, is many of our young adults struggle with housing, school, employment. They don't have the best support network. Maybe they have no one. All those facets are what Lifeset targets, but we let the young adult tell us what is the 911, what is the most prioritized goal right now. And that's what we then integrate into their treatment model and target with them each week. Something unique to Lifeset is I mentioned that 2 a.m. Saturday call. Lifeset has 24/7 on call, which is directed by the supervisors and our regional and staff. So if there's a young adult who's having a situation after 5 o'clock throughout the week or on the weekend, they're not there solo. Our on-call team is there to help and support them in the skill building process. We might not be able to save the day or give them a magic answer for an issue they're experiencing, but that is a time for them to hone in on the skills so that they'll be able to manage any crises they experience in the future. And as Taylor might have mentioned earlier, Lifeset is only 7 to 9 months. Our goal is for a young adult not to need us once we leave. Because of our individualized focus, the young adult should have been able to let us know, hey, these are the skills I don't have that I really need to build. And by those 9 months, we hope to see those skills built so that they can live successfully after that. So that's a mouthful. Any thoughts initially off of what that service delivery looks like before I dive into more on how we conceptualize each case? No? Well, please feel free to interrupt me. I know I might be going through some pretty detailed things. So we'll definitely move on to then our case conceptualization. This is where I tell you our secrets, all of them. So our team, we have all those supervisions. We meet with our licensed program expert. We meet with our clients, and then we take all that knowledge and we hammer out what does this need to look like in each session with our client. And we actually are able to utilize this database called GuideTree. This is a research-backed and YV-specific program. And this process helps us take what our client says as, hey, I really need a job and I really need a house. So we'll go into GuideTree and we're able to identify, hey, these are the biggest goals we're working on. What is the most research-backed and successful way to support this young adult into achieving that? So GuideTree, it's used across every program in youth villages, and within it, it holds multiple resources. We have over almost 200 interventions. We have over 1,000 resources, web links, different skill equipping resources to be targeting when we're face-to-face with our clients. So once we go from that case conceptualization process, the young adult's telling us the goals, we see some barriers. We go on here and identify what tools we can implement with them, and that's where we feed back into our supervision process. Any questions on that? Okay, then I guess we'll move right along. Okay, so this is where I can build a little bit on what Taylor spoke of in the past regarding why is Lifeset here? We've been here for almost 2 years. Lifeset has been a program since 1999. So why is it here in Kentucky? Taylor was able to mention how there had been gaps in the Kentucky system for our young adults. And so DCBS brought us in. And because of the relationship we've been able to build with DCBS, we wanted to make sure you guys were aware of what that looked like, since we know that you guys are volunteers and you're very supportive in terms of looking for the resources available for your young people, but you're also bound to the way you guys are able to structure and interact within the family court system. And so as we're considering young adults that might be a great fit for Lifeset, we wanted to just highlight our relationship here so that you would know the best person to go to if you're not able to snag one of us for a meeting, or if you're unsure of what young adults are eligible. Our independent living specialists and our state workers are phenomenal. You can always call Taylor, you can always call myself, but if you ever have questions specifically pertaining to your volunteer position, DCBS has a great, phenomenal resource, and that is who we receive majority of our referrals through. One thing I love to mention that as I think about just our potential collaboration with CASA is we have some active young adults now anyway who are heavily involved with just their own family court cases. I'm actually with a young adult right now who's in process of navigating the situation with one of her 10-month-old children And it would be a beautiful collaboration if we had a CASA volunteer on this specific case, but instances such as this, as a young lady is navigating how to regain permanency with her child, or just understand and recognize what needs to happen next in her case. We encounter many young adults who have some legal involvement, specifically pertaining to the work that CASA volunteers do. And so we see you as an invaluable resource and support person, which is just a huge exciting piece as to like why we're here and what we would love to see come. I did bulldoze through a ton of that. So I do know that Taylor has mentioned oh my goodness, my computer is freezing. I'm sorry, guys. We have been able to give you a ton of information, a lot of eligibility. I know up next we'll be able to speak directly on our referral process specifically. So I did want to be able to provide, let me see, information on that. We do have those flyers, and we have the videos that we'll be able to provide to you guys so that you're able to just educate the young adults that come to mind for you. You'll see here, this is our email. This is the email that we receive our referrals at. This is the email that you could always ask any questions to. That's kylifeset@youthvillages.org. You'll also be able to visit our website, and we have testimonial videos. We actually have a testimonial video for a Kentucky specific young adult. Again, once we close out from this interactive meeting, you'll be provided all these materials. So you'll be able to see these videos, have these flyers, and be able to present this to any young adults that come to mind with you. Let's see here. And then next up, we just wanted to make sure you had access to all of our contact information, which will also be presented and provided to you, especially in communication. I'm sure Taylor will be able to send up an email to Ben or provide that information to pass on to you guys. But I did want to save specific time here at the end to just hammer out any questions that you guys did have. If there's young adults on your mind that we might be able to clarify some expectations of for you, we'd love to just give you this space to speak on that. How are we funded? Beautiful, beautiful question. So returning, and Joe, you can interrupt me whenever if there's something to add, but when DCBS invited Lifeset to join the Kentucky ranks, they had received funding to be able to support young adults within this transition aged group. And so we had signed with them to where Chafee funding is where half of our funding comes from. The other half is philanthropically funded via Youth Villages ourselves. And so we are coming up on that 2-year mark, but that is why we receive majority of our referrals. They all have to go through DCBS or at least be approved by DCBS because of our partnership in that funding. Great question. Anything else for you guys? Or anything I might have missed, Joe?
No, you were spot on. I just wanted to highlight that we do a lot of outreach throughout the nation for funding, donations, etc. We have a few artists, like, for example, Tyler, what's his last name? He was a singer for Smith Wagon. He does a lot of outreach for us. We recently had someone in Jeopardy, not Jeopardy. What was it? Oh my goodness.
Wheel of Fortune, Joe.
Wheel of Fortune, yes, and she won $1 million, over $1 million donated to us over there.
I believe that was Melissa Joan Hart too, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So part of that money is what we brought to Kentucky to fund the program here. So half, like you said, half of the funding for this comes from DCBS, and the other half comes from us. We brought that money here as a company.
Catherine, I see your question regarding how to begin eliciting from a young adult how they see their future. That's a beautiful question that I can let Joe and Taylor add on to. But one of the biggest things we do is Lifeset is voluntary. So that's normally a really big pull for them to engage with us. They really feel that autonomy as they engage with Lifeset. But from there, due to our supervision from our licensed program expert, we're able to do quite a few of assessments in regards to like psychosocial functioning, but also we utilize our CASA life skills assessment, which is, if that's something you're not familiar with, that actually goes through and identifies areas of growth needs or extreme strengths in every foundation of life. And from there, our young adults are able to identify, hey, these are my strengths. This is what I want to do with my future. This is what I see being possible. That's a lot of what we're able to see in our young adults, especially just through our routine interactions with our young adults. We're with them every week, face to face. We're in the field with them. We're taking them to apartments. We're taking them to appointments. We're their biggest cheerleader. So anytime they have those moments of doubt, we hear that, and then we get right back on the road with them in the driver's seat to encourage them.
I think adding on to what Lexi was saying, I'm the program representative, so I'm always going to be the first person usually to chat with young adults who are referred to Lifeset. I'm able to usually chat with them within 24 hours of receiving a referral. And really, I just start to ask them, like, I just want to get to know them. I'm like, hey, so-and-so, who you have a relationship with, thought that it would be a good idea for me and you to chat. Like, what are you hoping for yourself? What are you struggling with right now? And then I'm able to really explain services to them in their needs in mind, because we really do serve just such a breadth of young adults. We've got young adults that we're serving who are actively experiencing homelessness. They may be couch surfing. And we're also serving young adults in our programs who are reaching out to realtors and trying to figure out how the heck does a mortgage work and what can we do to help support them through that process as well. So it really is just so individualized, like we're chatting about, and we do several of those assessments, like Lexi says, and we help them identify like goals that they have if they have a hard time coming up with them. But usually a young person can say, this is, like Lexi said, my 911, this is my top priority right now. And that's what we're going to strive to achieve while we learn problem solving and just resource building along the way.
Yes, and to expand a little bit on what Taylor just mentioned, our program is not only for those kids that are struggling, those young adults that are, struggling to make it by, although we certainly, help them. And most of our clients come with those type of situations, needing of housing, transportation, a lack of resources, etc. But we also target other young adults that are doing well, that are doing excellent, but they need a little bit extra to thrive. We've had, I can tell you personally, one client that I had when I was with the program in Tennessee, she was doing well. She was going through college and she needed extra support, and we brought her in. We helped her through college. When she finished college, we helped her get her first job, and she went to work for the state as a social worker. And about a year later, she said, I want to come back to youth villages, and I hired her as a staff, and she's been there for about 2.5 years now. She's thriving. Now she wants to, continue growing with the company. So we've had other young adults like her who are doing well, but we've been able to help her, thrive, go to the next step. Like Taylor was saying, some youth come with the goals that I want to have my house. I want plan for that. So we help them with that. Some of the others want to go to college, but they don't know what really they want. I remember, one of my staff had a client who was very indecisive, and we all sat down with her and talked to her, and she was able to, pinpoint what she really wanted to do, and she was able to successfully, get into college and move in that direction.
I see some other questions down here in the chat from Beth. We're currently serving 67 clients throughout the state of Kentucky. And then does a DCBS case manager refer? they can refer. So our referrals really, in our effort to be flexible to everybody that we've been working with, our referral process kind of looks differently for everyone. DCBS does give us the majority of our referrals, and they usually come from the young adults independent living specialist who they're usually assigned to at the age of 17. However, we do receive DCBS case manager referrals from time to time. And I think that's probably, from what Ben has been able to share with me, is probably going to be the best avenue for you all to send referrals. If you're ever meeting with a young person that you think would be a good fit for Lifeset, I also want you to know, if you feel comfortable, you're more than welcome to give me a call or shoot me a text and figure out when I could potentially chat with a young adult about services if they're okay with that. I don't know if you all can do that, but I love chatting with our young adults and seeing if they can be aligned to services and just getting a good idea of who they are directly before we get that referral sometimes. But if you feel like sending them to your DCBS case managers or the independent living specialist is going to be the best avenue, please feel free to do that. They know Lifeset exists and we get the referrals from them anyway. You guys are going to be more equipped probably and more know about what those kids' life skills are and what they need. Does that make sense or answer the questions? Joe, Lexi, feel free to hop in somewhere.
What I can add to that is that from the beginning, DCBS made the independent living specialist the gatekeeper of the referrals. So regardless of agencies that may send the referrals directly to us, we have to channel it back through them for them to, give the approval. So we've encountered some agencies that are not able to make referrals because internal policies or funding conflicts or other things, internal, situations, but they can always talk to the independent living specialist or the case managers and tell them, hey, I have this client that I think might be good fit for Lifeset, and they know us and we have an ongoing relationship with them, and they will send us that referral to us. And we have some we have a pre-admission assessment that we complete, and that's one of the ways that we determine if the young adult is a good fit for us and we're a good fit for them. And sometimes even if we are not, we do the best we can to connect them with other resources in the community. We're currently working with a couple of young adults that are not going to be a good fit for us because where they are and with the type of goals that they have, but we are connecting them with other community resources in the community to make sure that their needs are taken care of.
Anything else from you all? I see in the chat, what if the young person has learning disabilities? Is Lifeset equipped to work with that person? So all of our referrals we do take on a case-by-case basis, and I can tell you this with confidence. Any referral that we get, we do assess it. We don't look at the referral and say, no, we're not going to take that. We're always going to talk to a young adult and do that pre-enrollment assessment that Joe is just talking about. We're serving young adults right now. I think Lexi is actually serving a young adult, and she might be able to touch more on this, who has a lower IQ, but we're able to serve her because it is attainable for her to reach those independent living goals she's brought to us. And so we're able to serve them. And we do ask questions on our pre-enrollment assessment that include, like, have you received like special education services in school, and like what have those accommodations looked like? So we're always assessing for that, and we're always looking to get creative on how we can help our young people. We're always looking for a yes that matters. And Lexi, do you want to share a little bit more about like what that might look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So for any young adult that may have some learning disabilities, we've actually served quite a handful, especially for my Louisville team specifically, but I am presently carrying a young adult with a lower IQ. I believe right now it's a 72. Just as an example, this young lady is phenomenal to work with. I'm actually really honored to be with her, but she is extremely capable of attaining the goal she's set out. So we tailor our Lifeset services to meet her where she's at we go at the pace that she can handle, and we give her specifically what she asks for in the best way that will suit what her needs are in the moment. So just as Taylor said, we want to serve every young adult sent our way, so we will try and figure out the best way that we can serve them. And if we can't, we are always trying to find an avenue that we can direct that young adult to, should there be an alternative service or an alternative person that can better meet their needs. So it does take a village. So if we can't take them ourselves, we'd love to still work with you to find them someone who can meet the needs that they have, for sure. You guys have asked great questions.
He has great questions.
I will definitely be getting some of our flyers and just materials to Ben, and I think he can send those out to you all. I'll include our referral just so that you can see the type of information that we like to gather when we are talking with a young adult that you could pass on to an ILS or a DCBS worker that you're in contact with. I'm going to drop my contact information in the chat in case you guys do think of any other questions. My whole literal job on the Lifeset team is to just be available to our community partners, answer any questions they have, and help get these young folks services. So you can text me, you can call me, you can email me any questions you have, and you can feel free to share this. If you do run into a DCBS worker who maybe hasn't had a lot of experience with referring to Lifeset or who has more questions about it, feel free to pass along my contact information and get them in touch with me, and I can help them understand a little bit more about what we do, and make sure that it is a good fit for that young person. So yeah, I'm putting my stuff in the chat right now. Any other questions or things that you guys would like to hear us talk about in our last couple of minutes here?
And Taylor, if you get me a copy of the PowerPoint, I'll send that out along with your contact information and the referral if you want to send that too in the post training email that everyone gets.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I know my team and I, we really appreciate you all jumping on with us today for this hour. It's been so much fun getting to present this and play that little game and just talk about services for young adults that typically may not have services offered to them. I hope that you found it valuable and that you maybe can think of some young adults who might benefit from Lifeset, and that the referral avenue we've provided is going to make that an easy referral or getting that information to the young person.
Yes, thank you on behalf of Youth Villages. Thank you to everyone, not only for inviting us and, we'll be willing to listen to what we do, but also, you all are volunteers. So this is the first time that we do a presentation for a group of volunteers, and it's very unique. So thank you all. My hat off to all of you for, volunteering, to giving all this time to help this population. I mean, not only the population that we serve, which is 17 to 32, but I know that you all serve a much, broader population, and is very needed. So thank you all for the services you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for attending today, and thanks to Joe, Taylor, and Lexi for a great presentation.
You all have a great day.
Thank you for the
Bye,
information.
everyone. Thank you.
Very helpful.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.